Thank you. You have a good heart, and if people can't see that by now, they should be canceled. Well, yeah, thank you so much. So it was just a weird time. But during the election, I'm going to tell you guys the truth, okay? Because a lot of us are like scared to talk about, you really, if you're in the spotlight, you shouldn't talk about anything political unless you're in that political world. Because, yeah, you should be able to kind of stand up for what you believe in, but when you do, it just causes an uproar and so many people mad at you. So I really tried to keep political things. So I have a Facebook, and it's just friends and family. And then I have my social medias. So when people get mad when I put something on my Facebook, they are right. Because what's on the internet is on the internet. But that's like, they're like, you are a, what's the word I'm looking for? My brain isn't functioning right now. You are what's the word I'm looking for, Josh? Influencer. You're an influencer. You shouldn't be doing that. And they're right, but I never posted anything like that on like my big social media platforms. So, MTV said cut the cameras out. Girl, you can't say nothing nowadays without someone getting butthurt. And that's true. Public figure. Yeah. Public figure, role model, influencer. And they're right. They're right. I should stop and think. But at the end of the day, we are all so much more alike than we think. And that's why we should learn to hold hands and come together. I truly believe that. We're all more alike than we realize. We are all humans who have different struggles. Some are to the extreme, some aren't. Some of us are way more privileged than other people based off of money, based off of the color of our skin, based off of, where we're from, all of that. Like, every one of us, though, does have different struggles. And I'm getting tongue twisted. I just wish we could all come together. But during this whole political thing, I need to stay on track. I actually was in the middle because I'm like, okay, what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. So there was so much on each side that I could take. I'm like, you know what? This person is right. This person over here is right. Or I don't agree with that. But this person over here does this that I like. I mean, I could pull so much that I like from both sides. It was like, what's wrong is wrong over here is wrong. What's right is right over here is right. What's on both sides. I could sit in the back, and I know that's like so weird to say, but I kind of liked it because what I could see from from sitting back and watching is that this side didn't care what was right on this side. It was like, you are wrong just because you voted for. They would cut people out of their lives based off of their beliefs and who they voted for. And if you voted for this person, you're this and that. And if both sides were guilty. It was like, everyone deserves to have their own beliefs and love the other side at the same time. So I did like being in the middle in the sense of like, I could love both sides. I could love both sides and I can be like, yeah, you're right. This side is doing this right. I mean, it was just like, but it kind of caused a lot of anxiety for us all. You know what I mean? So, but once again, what's wrong is wrong and what's right is right. So there was a lot of one person in particular that, as I did more research, and what I learned after I said what I said was I didn't do enough research. After I did even more extended research, I actually disagreed more. But I didn't agree with a lot of the things that she stood for. And I said something very ignorant about her. And the next morning I woke up to an uproar on the internet. And of course, I'm very proud of MTV for not standing for racism. So I said something that I basically took two words and I twisted them around, okay? And I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. I put the word amazing in front of it. And you don't say the word amazing in front of something that you truly meant harm. And I didn't mean harm. What I am sorry for is I'm sorry for saying anything bad about a woman, because I'm all about women supporting other women. But this was like on a next level because it was political. And when I said that, it was like half the people were mad because I didn't like someone they liked, and the other half was mad about what I said. Accountability. I love that word. So, no, I didn't get fired. This video could, I don't know if they're going to fire me. But basically, I called the owner of MTV, or the owner of the show, like the head honcho, and I said, hey, accountability. I said, I want you to know I do not stand for racism. I will never stand for racism. That is not how my mama raised me, okay? She raised me to love. For everyone who is lost, I said something, I meant to say woman of color, and I said amazing colored. So that's what I said. And when I found out what I said and the meaning behind it and how bad I hurt people, I was very upset with myself. And I know that if my mom was here, she would have been upset too, because I hurt people. That's not how she raised me. I don't stand for racism. So for everyone saying they're confused, I don't like to bring it up because it hurts people. But MTV is bringing it up at all costs after many promises, and I'll get into that here in a minute. So I called him, and he was like, I'm super proud of you for calling and saying, one, what I did was wrong. That is not what I meant. It was a huge mistake, but I'm in the spotlight and I have to be held accountable. So I said, if you guys want to cut me from the show because of this, I deserve it. I do not deserve any grace. I don't deserve any. And they were like, no. We know that you didn't mean it, but you need to be held accountable and you need to do the right thing. So I'm like, absolutely. So I said, can I please go on my social media and say sorry? Yes. So I'm going to explain it again. I disagreed with some things Kamala said, and I shared an article about her. And when the articles came out, it said I wrote the article. I didn't. I shared it. It had hundreds of thousands of shares. Hundreds of thousands. And I meant to say amazing woman of color, and I said amazing colored woman. And now that I know the meaning behind that word, I hate that word. Where I come from is a small white town. White. Most of the people were white or Native American, which is what my kids, children, and husband are. So that's like, I wasn't raised to have to know the meaning, but it was my responsibility to do my research. Okay. When I saw people were upset, I started individually reaching out to these people. And some of them were very kind. I had amazing conversations. I got on the phone with complete strangers to apologize. I had 3-hour-long conversations with some of them because I was so sorry. For everyone saying I don't understand the difference, there is a huge difference, and I learned that. Okay, so it is not okay what I said. It 100% isn't okay. But I asked, and a lot of people, the Black community in particular, are very upset that I didn't say sorry. And the right thing to do, whether I get fired for saying sorry or not, was to come on my social media and say sorry. Okay, and so that's what I'm sorry about. I wanted to say sorry, but MTV said, please don't say sorry. Let us control the narrative. So I had my lawyer fight it. I had my manager get on the phone. So for an entire month, I was on the phone. This is where stuff gets messed up, guys. For an entire month, I was on the phone bawling and getting trained on how to apologize. First off, I shouldn't have to get trained on how to apologize. How is that a sincere apology? How? Because they didn't want me to say sorry and say something wrong again, which a lot of celebrities or people in the spotlight do. That is fine, but the right thing to do was for me to get on here and say, I'm sorry from my heart. Instead, they said, no, we have to train you because we want you to say what the people want to hear. It's not about what you want to hear. It is about if I am truly in the bottom of my heart sorry. That's what it's about. And I am. And I was wrong and I was ignorant. And I think I've made myself look even more stupid by not just standing my ground and coming on here and saying sorry. So, as you guys know, it's a big narrative on the show of racial injustice. And when I say, I'm going to bring someone else's name up, that Cheyenne is a huge and important asset to the show, I mean it. She holds a very important role, and there's a lot of stress on her being the only Black woman on the show. And I'm not talking for her. She has said that to me. So the first thing that I wanted to do was call her. So I needed to say sorry to her in my own words. And people were like, no, like maybe you shouldn't, like you hurt a lot of people. But I'm like, once again, I felt that it was right to come on here and say sorry. I was stopped from that, but I really needed to call her and say sorry. So I called her, and honestly, it was a beautiful conversation. I will say that. It was a very, very beautiful conversation. So once again, I'm going to say it again. For those who are upset that I haven't came on here and said sorry, it is my fault that I let people stop me because it meant a paycheck or me keeping my spot on the show. If the show chooses to drop me because I got on here and said sorry, that's that. But they wanted to control the whole narrative, and they kept saying, we have your back, we do this, we do that. And I said, I think I need to say sorry now because they wanted it to be on the after show, which is about to air. And that was months ago when this happened. They stopped me from saying sorry. And now they're opening up the can of worms months and months down the road and hurting people all over again. My words, confusing the words of saying, instead of saying amazing woman of color, instead of saying amazing colored woman, that hurt people. And they want to screenshot that, put it on the show, which I had to just watch. I begged for them to let me see what was about to come this coming Tuesday, and I just watched it, and I'm a little bit sick to the stomach. Because everything they promised me they wouldn't do, they did, which is besides the point. Everyone's still asking what I'm apologizing for. So the story, it gets crazier. So for a month, I was trained on how to say sorry. And I kept hanging up the phone on the lawyer, on my manager, on everyone. I don't even care if my manager drops me at this point. I'm like, why can't I say sorry? Why can I not get on my social media and say sorry? Because you'll make yourself look worse. You'll make yourself look worse. So I thought these people were out to protect me, but they are not out to protect me. What I just learned by watching the show is they're out to protect their narrative. So my name is going down to the ground because it helped their narrative. Like what I did helped them because they want to prove that there are racist people out there, and there are 100% are. And I stand behind the everyone who is trying to shut that down. I stand behind you. So like the first thing Josh, my husband, said to me when all this went down was he never cares what people think. He never cares what's on the internet. So he told me, like, listen, you know your heart. And I actually think this is funny because I've watched you get heated over racial injustice. I've watched you get mad, and I've watched you stand up and tell people, you're wrong for this, this, and that. And then here I am, my name is blasted, and it looks awful. And the messages I got were, once again, I'm not a victim. What I did was wrong. What I did was wrong. It was wrong. And it was ignorant. And I would have never said that if I knew it hurt people. But one thing that really upsets me is everyone saying that they pray I get cancer like my mom and go to the grave with her. And this is why my mom died. And that's hundreds and hundreds of people said stuff to me. And then I was called like, white people are the majority of this world. Okay, we make up the majority of America. So we make up 60%. So you can't really be racist towards us. And so I was called redneck, inbred, white trash, trailer trash, all these things, obviously, which were meant to hurt me. And what I said was never meant to hurt anyone. So obviously the only thing I had to say back, and all the people who called me that were white, by the way. I didn't have anything to say back because, I deserved everything I got. But everyone's mad at my mom and saying, you only people who are racist are raised by racists, so your mom was racist. So my mom is dead, guys. She's dead. She died, and she loved her fans so much. She loved you guys so much. And so for you guys to be taking her name down and blaming it all on her, she isn't even here. I'm my own individual human. I made that mistake. It wasn't because of the way my mom raised me. Like, I made that mistake. I was wrong for mixing those words up, and I cannot be more sorry. But do not bring someone dead into this that had nothing to do with this, because if she was here, she would want me to say sorry to you guys, and she would want me to make things right. And she would have told me, who cares about the show? Who cares if they fire you if you go on and say you're sorry because you are sorry? Okay, so, yeah, I called Cheyenne, and I'm the new girl on the show. These girls welcomed me with open arms, okay? Like, they didn't have to. I'm the new one. I'm the young one. Even though, I started with 16 and pregnant and Teen Mom 3, I was brought into the OGs. And the girls were amazing. They still are amazing to me. So I had that beautiful conversation with Cheyenne, and honestly, she didn't have to answer the phone. She didn't have to have that conversation with me. She didn't have to tell me her pain. It is not her responsibility or anyone in the Black community's responsibility to educate us white people. It is our responsibility to know our privilege and educate ourselves, because if I would have educated myself more instead of thinking I wasn't racist because I love everyone, I wouldn't have said that. So it's my fault, and I'm taking full responsibility for that word mix-up. But, thank you. Josh knows I'm sick, and he brought me something to wipe my tears. So after that, Cheyenne tweeted that I'm ignorant. Okay, so actually on the phone call, we decided we're gonna have we decided that we're gonna go live together. She was like, you know what, Mackenzie, this was a really beautiful conversation, and more people need to hear this, because we were just laughing together. I was crying to her. I couldn't be more sorry. I felt really good about the conversation. So when I got off the phone, I texted, the honcho of MTV. I'm like, I just had a really beautiful conversation with Cheyenne. I think we should go live together. I'll go on Cheyenne's podcast. I don't care to be humiliated, because this is opening a door for me. It really did open a door for me. And then things I thought it was going to be amazing, and then things just were a downward spiral from there. My lawyer was still calling me every single day, explaining to me how I need to say sorry. And I'm like, okay, I'm still confused why I can't get on and say sorry from my heart. I'm still confused. I am still confused. Yeah, so Cheyenne tweeted I'm ignorant. So I messaged her, and I was just no longer comfortable. I was like, I know what you're doing on the show, and it's beautiful. We need to get rid of all the racism and racial injustice, but I'm not the racist. I'm not racist. I'm not racist. There's no proof I'm racist, and that word is very touchy, and cancel culture's big. We're canceling people left and right. So I was like, I'm no longer comfortable with this conversation, because I no longer feel like me and you are on the same page. Let me just pull up the conversation. And I was like, it makes me a little uncomfortable, because I want you to know I love you, and I don't feel like with that there's any room for growth. I just don't feel like I want to hold your hand, Cheyenne, and I need you to know I love you. And she said, welcome. Her message back was, I have no sympathy for you. Welcome to day one of being uncomfortable because of the color of your skin. And my message back was, if she hates me, That's fine. That's fine. That is fine because I said something ignorant, and that's okay. But it was my job to let her know I loved her. And so I messaged back and I was like, no, I'm walking on eggshells because I don't want to say anything to hurt you. I want you to know I stand behind this. I stand behind you. Let's unite. Let's come together. I want to hold your hand and move forward with you, Cheyenne. I love you. And she decided right then and there, I'm cutting you off. I do not like you. You are now a part of my storyline. And MTV decided, like, it's like they're working with her. What she's doing is amazing, like I said. And now I'm a part of that storyline that racism exists. And it's taking my name down. It really is. Do I love Cheyenne? 100%. Last time I told her, like, hey, I told you I loved you 4 times. You never said it back. You cut me off. And she laughed and said, I don't tell people I love them because I would have to write down why. I mean, she just like kind of came up with an excuse, but it was like very obvious. I'm cutting you off, and I'm always like tweeting how amazing she is, all this stuff. And no, she doesn't have to say anything back. She don't even have to like me, but it's very obvious. Like she'll tweet the other girls back, and it's like me. It's like Mackenzie she's a part of why I do what I do. And so my name is being used in ways that it shouldn't be. So I got on the phone with Color of Change organization. And by the way, they were amazing. I got on the phone with several organizations. She was included in one. And one of them, like, they were like, tell it how it is. I want you to use your voice. I don't want anyone to feel like they have to back down, because that's how we're going to come together. We need to come together and unite. And I was like, okay, I want you guys to tell me why I'm racist and what I need to change, because I don't want to be. If I am, okay, I don't want to be. And they literally said, like, have you ever supported Santa Claus? And I said, yes. Okay, then you're racist. And so I almost felt like at the end, I couldn't win. I couldn't tell them I love them enough. I couldn't say, please let me hold your hand and walk forward with you. I stand behind you. I stand behind you with all of this. And they wanted me to say, yeah, I am. It's like the only end result was for me to say, yeah, 100%, I am racist and I am wrong for not liking the vice president. It was like that was the only answer. And so I was on the phone. It like went back and forth because they wanted me to do this basically to stay on the show. They wanted me to do a thing where an organization educates me. That was like the agreement to stay on the show. But I don't even know how to explain it. But one thing that really rubbed me the wrong way, and this is kind of messed up, and I told myself I'd never talk about it, but today is just a day. I got told that I needed reversion therapy for my political views because I'm a conservative. Backing up, I was very good friends with someone who was gay who had reversion therapy as a kid, and it is very inhumane because his parents, people around him didn't want him to be gay. They were told it was the right thing to do. It wasn't the right thing to do. It's inhumane and it's not right. No one needs reversion therapy for their political views. That is why this is a free country. And I love everyone, no matter where they come from or who they voted for. And once again, I'm not even on a side. I'm not even on a side. I think people think like I'm a Trump lover and I voted for Trump. I'm not even on his side. I'm just in the middle trying to decide like what's wrong and what's right and learning myself. But to tell me I need reversion therapy, I'm like, I thought this was a freaking conspiracy theory. And I just got, and then it was just like, I just wanted to know, like, what can I do? Please tell me what I can do. Like, I was like, you know, kind of kissing these people's feet to the ground. And the end result was, you need, if your children go to a school where there's white people, you need to pull them. If your children have a white doctor, you need to pull them and go find a black doctor. If your children, and I'm like, thinking of their Latino dentist, I'm like, why can't I just love their dentist because he's a good dentist no matter what he is? I think that's where we need to go. And maybe I'm wrong, but why can't we love everyone? Why can't we love everyone? You know? And like, it just turned into something so crazy. So then I was on all these phone calls, hours and hours, and setting up, and this wasn't, and I would film one thing, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough. I film another thing, it wasn't good enough. That wasn't good enough. We'll do this. I'll film another thing. I took 3 weeks off of work to be trained on the right thing to say to fit MTV's agenda and on the after show. And then they did everything they promised they wouldn't do. They took the screenshot of what I said. So you guys are going to see that Tuesday. And I'm very sorry. And I'm here to say I was wrong. Yeah, but we aren't there, dude. You have... Okay, so for everyone saying... us white people aren't privileged. Okay, so that's like a topic I'm going to touch on real quick because I hear that a lot, okay? And because MTV took my word, they took everything good I said and took it out and just made me look like really stupid on this coming Tuesday's show. I have a lot of anxiety about what it's going to do to my name and my business. And I just wish I could have just said sorry from my heart because that's a true, authentic apology. And this is like, if you don't notice, last week was all about racial injustice. And then this week is taking this, you know, white racist blonde on the show and taking her name down and proving, you know, this side of the story that racism does exist. It's right here. And my name isn't going to be used for that. But, oh my gosh. I honestly can't even believe I'm doing this, but anyway, so white privilege. That was kind of like where I went a little bit in my head because obviously, okay, I was raised, my dad was a custodian, my mom didn't become a school teacher until I was in the 3rd grade, but we were 4 kids to 1 bunk bed. We were very poor. We struggled a lot. And so, you know, when someone who comes from a lot of money and a glorious life comes at me and tells me I'm privileged, I'm like, wait a minute. I get jealous of your life. Like, it looks fabulous and I want your life. But I've never struggled because of the color of my skin. So I cannot, and no white person can sit here and say we are not privileged because we are, because we've never struggled. Maybe my struggles were different. I was poor, she wasn't. But I never had to struggle because of the color of my skin. And for people sending me books, I think I've read some of those. But anyways, yes, I have understood my privilege and I have learned a lot. And the last time I actually talked to Shay, she was like, you say these things, but have you even done any research? And then it was like, yeah, last time I talked to her, she was, I'm cutting you off. But once again, do I love her? Yeah. Do I think she's awesome on the show? Yeah. Beautiful person, inside and out, beautiful family, and everything she is standing up for is something I am behind. It's something I am behind, but it kind of looks like I'm on the other side of things, and I apologize for anyone who says that. But I will say, I was bullied. I was bullied for 3 weeks straight. I was on call after call. Nothing was good enough until I said, yes, I am what you say I am. And yes, I do now love this person. And I think it's more of a problem. I think this is 100% more of a problem of not liking or not agreeing with the vice president than it is what people are making. I think if it was about anyone, it would be a whole different situation. But I think because it's political, it was just crazy. It was absolutely insane. So anyways, I'm probably going to delete this, but those who have been on here and listened, thank you. And I'm trying to read the comments. You guys can come on here and tell me, like, be real, be honest. If you're disappointed in me, like, I want to hear it. I want to hear your pain. I want to hear whatever. But I do not think that Teen Mom politics should be brought into Teen Mom. I don't. I just don't. Especially, like, the president, like, it all got into there. And I'm probably the only conservative on the show. And I love the other people. I love everyone on the show. Like, my mom adored them. She did. They adored my mom, even though they had way different views. My mom didn't care. She opened them with open arms, and she never cared what side of things you are. She never cared if you were a believer in God or not. Anyone was welcome in my mom's home. And she saw everyone the same. She didn't care where you came from. So, like, it is very hard because it's just hard. Like, I have spent so much time crying about this, and when I would just watch the show and see that everything they promised not to do, they did, and they made me, like, I will tell you guys, it really looks awful, and I know that all I can do is stay true to my heart and know that I'm not the things they're portraying me as, but it fits their agenda, so it's kind of taking my name down, and I am a human too, so it's not okay. But I was just like, you know what, guys? I texted every single one of them before this, and I said, it is time I get to stand up for myself. And it's also time I get to say sorry in my own way. You guys wanted to control the narrative because you wanted it to fit everything that you're trying to do. But it's not to protect me for who I truly am. And not even just to protect me. I didn't want protected. Like, it was a humiliating experience that I mixed up those two words. And I am thankful that I got called out. Because what if I did it again? You know what I mean? Like, I'm thankful for this opportunity. And I am willing to come on here. And I'm willing to be humiliated and say, I was wrong. I was so wrong. Everything that I did was wrong. And I'm so sorry. And I should have done it so that they could squash it. But instead, they didn't want to squash it right then and there because they wanted it to be a part of the show, which is exactly what they got, which is exactly what everyone's about to see this Tuesday. So I'm going to break everything down. I'm going to break everything down real quick before I get off. So I do not agree with Kamala Harris. I shared an article about her on my private Facebook, not on my open social medias. Someone got a hold of it, turned it into the tabloids because what I said was wrong, and they should have done that, okay? So I'm taking full accountability, full responsibility, and it wasn't okay. But I do think, like, they blew everything up. Like, when you read the articles, it makes me look like just this awful. No. So, you know, like, okay, so anyways, I meant to say amazing woman of color, and I said amazing colored woman. So I mixed those words up. I just literally typed it and went on with my day, and then 2 weeks later, it blew up all over the internet. So that's exactly what happened. Everyone's asking, aren't we allowed to dislike whoever? Apparently not. Apparently it's not okay to dislike her. But I will say that that was wrong to say anything bad about a woman because that's also something I don't represent. Okay, so what I did and what I said was wrong. I was wrong for sharing an article that disliked her. I should have kept that to myself. I was wrong for mixing the words up. I was wrong for being so ignorant that I didn't know the mixture of the words. And if MTV decides to cut me because of this live, then I I had to come on here and say sorry from the bottom of my heart, because the apology that they made me shut my mouth for, because they wanted to show it on TV, because they told me this will make you look better than your true apology. And I'm having to explain to these black women that were broken-hearted because they were a fan of the show and of me, and they're like, why aren't you apologizing? And I had to apologize to them one-on-one, and they would say, no, sis, you need to get online and apologize. You posted this online. Get online and apologize. Do the right thing. And I didn't, because MTV told me not to, because they wanted to put it on the show to make a better apology. So the show's apology is bullcrap. I'll tell you right now, it is bullcrap. And so my apology is now to those who told me to do the right thing and come on here and say sorry, and I didn't because MTV told me not to. That is where my apology is that I should have said sorry, and I'm not. I'm sorry for mixing those words up. So anyways, I typed up a statement, and I begged for them to let me post it. They did not let me. But this cancel culture, it is just absolutely insane. Like, people work so hard to get to where they are, and then, like, it's a popular train that everyone's jumping on. So when it got on the internet the next day that Mackenzie McKee is now racist, everyone jumped on the train, and it was just crazy. But now I'm here to do the right thing. So I don't know. Everyone's talking about how brave I was. I was actually shaking before I did this, because I don't even like to talk about what I said, because it actually disgusts me. I'm very, very disgusted in myself, and I'm disappointed in myself that I was so ignorant. And that's what they kept telling me. Like, instead of saying, thank you, Mackenzie, for changing, thank you, Mackenzie, for noticing what you were doing, there was no room for growth, which I think is like a better place that the world can come to, is leave room for growth. And that's not happening. It's just canceling. Instead of that, they said, there is no way you didn't know the difference. There is no way you thought that word was okay. We don't believe you. We do not believe you. There's no way. I don't believe you. I don't buy it. That's bullcrap. And so that's kind of what I was told for 3 weeks. And, so everyone's saying you need to post a statement. Everyone's saying you need to post a statement, and I'm going to post a statement. I've been holding this all in for 3 weeks, and I love you guys so much more than what I'm being portrayed as, and I'm so sorry for those of you who I have hurt. I'm sorry for those that I've hurt and disappointed, and it wasn't right, and it wasn't okay, and all the mean messages I got, 100% deserved. I don't deserve grace or forgiveness, and for those of you who are giving it to me, thank you so much. But before you guys watch the show this Tuesday, that is not how it went down, okay? It's not how it was. They wanted it to fit their narrative. They wanted it to fit their agenda, and it's just not true, okay? From the bottom of my heart, I love every single one of you so much. I do not stand for racism, and I stand behind every single one of you who are fighting and using your voice and exhausted to no ends to end all the racial injustice that is out there. And I am here behind you, and a lot of people have told me, like, no, you can't be behind us now because you said that. I'm not going to stick to that anymore. I've just decided, like, they don't get to decide that for me. I'm still going to be behind you, and I'm still going to stand against that because it's the right thing to do. So anyways, I'm going to get